Okay. This meeting is now open. It is 5:34. I've got a list up here of individuals that want to speak, and no, you signed up. I'm going to start off with saying, and maybe this will solve sort of some of y'all's questions that you have. We asked before the hearing was open, who wanted to speak on Escondido or whatever. I will tell you that up Cocobolo, there's a water line laid right now up Cocobolo, up to where I think it's Quail Trail. So it comes up, takes a left on Quail Trail as you're coming up, and goes down a couple of lots. All right. The city has approved up to station 44 on Cocobolo, which is right before you start up the hill. Everything from there down, the city's already approved. Okay. There is a water line that is laid from that station to Cocobolo, and then you take a left on Cocobolo, and you go down there a couple of properties. That line is already laid. We do have a grant right now with, when you go down Quail Trail, you're going to see a bunch of pipe. So there is a grant right now that we secured, the county secured, for 3 different precincts. Precinct 1, which is that pipe that's there. Precinct 2, which is an extension of Tierra Blanca and Paisano to go to SL 79. And then also Vega Verde, which is past the commissioner's house, has nothing to do with anything. It was just a marker, a couple of homes further down. Precinct 4 has already started laying pipe and moved forward. Everything, precincts 2 and precinct 4 have already got permission to lay their portion of the grant that we already have. Precinct 1 has not received permission from the city to lay pipe that on Quail Trail, and then it goes down to Fox and Buck Trail. That we already have a grant for that, and all that pipe that is out there on Quail Trail is for those areas there. I don't know what part that y'all wanted to speak to, but I will tell you that Quail Trail, Fox, and Buck Trail, there is pipe already that we've already purchased to be able to install.
What's the name of that grant?
It's at Texas, the number on that grant.
The name of the grant?
Okay, grant is funded through a Colonia Fund construction grant. The county applied. Okay, those funds came from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The federal funds passed through down to the state of Texas, to the state agency, the Texas Department of Agriculture. And they set aside a certain amount of funds every couple of years for Colonia Fund construction. They call them Colonia Fund construction funds. So Val Verde County has a recognized by the Secretary of State colonias in Val Verde County. Okay, and Escondido, Rancho del Rio, and Rise Estates are recognized. So the county can apply for those funds to be used there. There are also funds colonias for Vega Verde. There's also out here at Rough Canyon, that's a colonia. Comstock, the town of Comstock is a colonia. Langtree is considered a colonia. So there's a number of different areas that the county can apply.
But this grant that you're talking about, that's why we're here. Is that the CDBG grant money?
Yeah, they're all CDBG funds.
This one here, the one that y'all are here, is for a grant that we will be applying for in the future.
Okay.
That's what this hearing is about.
So the one that we're here about is the one in the future. The one that you just laid out was the one that was applied for in 2021?
2019.
And it's just started getting here.
Yeah, it's already been funded. We've already gone through all the environmental, we've already gone through all the procurement, and the county has purchased the materials. So they started today putting the pipe in the ground. The next opportunity that we're here tonight visiting about is opportunity between now and April 3rd. The next window of opportunity for the county to reapply for additional funds.
Okay, let me follow up with this question. You said every 2 years, or is this grant CDBG is every year or every 2 years?
Every 2 years.
But we've been asking for extensions on the one we're at right now.
That's why I'm a little bit lost, because I was.
No, we've been asking for
that's not-
extensions and stuff like that.
Because of the global material supply issue with COVID and all that, this project's been delayed, and that's why we had to request an extension. And so the county is earnestly trying to complete the existing project, get ourselves in order to reapply between now and April 3rd. Or,
Judge Owens, were you on the court when Commissioner Ramon was on the court?
Yes,
yes.
when this thing started with the very, very first phase.
Well, I think Mr. Rodriguez will, whenever he asks a question, whenever he's invited to, he'll talk
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, let's do this. Isaac, yeah, if you want to come up, we can figure out where that, and you just tell me like what area were you concerned about or you think we should run water to?
No, so again, I think everybody here is just trying to figure out the general plans moving forward and how we're gonna unify.
Yeah.
You know, because I live on Quail Trail, the pipe is actually running in front of my house,
Yeah.
there's a meter up there. But because of the lack of approval from the city, we haven't tied in yet.
And we're going to try to, and probably going to take a little bit longer than usual on a hearing like this, but I will tell you that we ran into issues. I'm not going to throw rocks at the city because this part is not their fault. This is ours. We got approval from the city to go up to Station 44, which is just to the bottom of before you get to Quail Trail, because of a lack of pressure. Not a lack of pressure for the homes, but a lack of pressure for the fire hydrants. We have two 150-gallon per minute pumps that are sitting as soon as you cross the railroad tracks over the right-hand side in that second building, that first building. Those pumps won't produce enough water when you turn on a fire hydrant. It'll produce enough water for your homes.
The home.
And the concern was that if we ran it up Cocobolo and onto Quail Trail, then we'd have a complete lack of pressure. So what we've done is the court asked Commissioner Wardlaw to set aside $10,000 out of his operating budget and another $20,000 out of his operating budget. $10,000 for a pump, $20,000 for the installation of backflows. That way the people that are below that Station 44, before you go up the hill, everybody else can actually get their water meters turned on as soon as we get the backflows on. All right, so if you live on Quail Trail today, you won't get any water. What we're going to be asking for is permission to lay pipe past where the pipe's at right now, down Quail Trail, Buck and Fox Trail, to get permission to lay that pipe while we install the pump to bring the pressure up, which is an 8,000 gallon per minute pump to bring the pressure up. That way we can get y'all turned on where the pipe's already laid, if that makes any sense.
And again, I think it's just speaking for.
Yeah, no,
Trying to figure out what's
Yeah,
going on.
and this right here, is, that way we get an idea of what is it that y'all would like, after we get done with the projects that y'all have, where else y'all would like to get, water pipe, or get services. Okay, go ahead.
If I may, I'll make a comment in regards to all that, because I know people probably got a lot of questions. There's probably some of y'all were here 10 years ago. We had our first meeting out there about Escondido and all that. We were out here in the same room, 40 or 50 people. There's been a lot of moving parts on not just that project, but a lot of projects. But I just wanted to comment that originally, that system out there was never to be a fire flow system, okay? It was just to provide water to the residents that lived out there and had been surveyed. There was Department of State Health Services evaluation done. There was a lot of containers, and we took samples, and they were contaminated, and on and on and on. And so it was designed to begin with just to provide water to the residences that live out there, okay? And then, so it was originally designed like that. And then after we got into the project, well, then the city said no, rather than putting in 4-inch lines and, you know, lines that were approved by TCEQ for a number of connections based on the size of those lines. That now, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you have fire protection out there. So we had to put in bigger pipe. Okay, excuse me. Not only that, then we had to put in fire hydrants. And so that increased the cost of the project also delay the project, increase the cost, and consequently now we're having to do some more modifications to increase the volume of water, increase the bigger the pipe, the more volume you gotta have, now you gotta have bigger pumps because of the power flow system out there.
Mr. Treasurer, quick question, on this, grant money. Does it allow for, expenditure on research, or is it just all infrastructure material?
Infrastructure.
That's it, no money, no one investing for any research done as to,
Well, we have to have an engineer and you have a study on all this. I don't know if
does
that's
the grant
answered your
money,
question.
does the grant money?
We had grant money for that.
Yeah.
Not this grant money, though.
No, there's plans that are drawn, all that is done and presented to
It's all
them.
designed by a professional engineer.
Yeah, yeah,
But it doesn't get into the CDBG grant money.
yes.
Well, there was an original grant, planning grant for that project out there about 10 years ago.
But is
That
that-
was CDBG money,
Okay.
yes.
It's all that was done with grant money. And then I will tell you that, the city, on their part, what they wanted, wasn't up to them. It was by the fire code. After all the plans were first discussed and put in, then somebody looked at the fire code and it wouldn't work. So that's the reason, and that's the reason also that it's taken so long, because the first phase was just to get the pipe buried to the tank. And then the next phase was, okay, now we need a tank. And then, there is a study, we performed a study right now to see what else, if there's if there's need out there past Quail Trail, Fox and Buck Trail. And that we're going through right now.
Excuse me, I have a question. I don't think that this feasibility study for shedding the water. Now, you did that at the very beginning.
At the very beginning. That there was a need.
I'm sorry?
There was a study that there was a need for water.
Yeah, and that's what part of the grant was.
Yeah, the first part. Yes, sir.
Has there ever been any thought to shortcome the cost of bringing it in from Laughlin?
You can't. Well, because there is either a 15 or 18-inch line that goes to Laughlin. And it actually goes through the SE Ranch property between 90 east and 277 south. It's what we call the SE Ranch on both sides of SL 79. There is a 15 or 18-inch, it's a massive water line that goes across there. When that thing was put in, it was only supposed to be used for Laughlin. You can't hook up to that line. And any water line that is on Laughlin, you cannot hook up to it. Okay, so that can't be done. As a matter of fact, we're talking about other things that we will have to do with Laughlin that we're trying to accomplish. And the only way that we'll be able to do that in order to help them is to hook onto that line, but whatever we hook up to will have to be Laughlin's. We can't hook up to it. So,
Another question I have is, since the city seems to be giving only a big headache for everything, why can't the county invest in digging wells in an area?
I can tell you that out there, it would be fruitless. There's a well that we have, on the SE Ranch that produces over 300 gallons a minute. It just stinks. I mean, it's just terrible. I would hate to go spend money, on a water well and to have that kind of water. The best idea, the best thing we can come up with is what we're doing right now. To go out there and invest in water wells and then own it and have the county own it through a certificate of convenience and necessity, we're not going to do it.
Have y'all ever done a study on the pressure of that gentleman that sells water to everybody back there to see if that would support everybody?
No. But again, who's going to run it?
Well, the county.
Oh, no, there's no way. We're not going to get in that business, and we're not going to go ask the state to go get in that business.
If I may,
So you're in a business with the city.
No, I'm not in a business with the city. No, sir. We're getting off track, but I will answer your question. We're not in business with the city. We apply for a grant. We bury pipe in order to help y'all, and then the city takes over that water line and takes over the meters. I won't vote to be in the business of a water line and form another department because we don't know what we're doing. I mean, it's just easier to get the city to go do it, but we need to comply with what they want. Right now, I'm not gonna throw rocks at the city when I have not done something to make sure that the water pressure is enough for them to accept it. All right? Even though the line, like Carl said, was designed, all that was designed to provide water for the individuals, not for fire hydrants. But now that we needed to do it, and we keep adding more pipe to it, we're not gonna have the pressure.
I think, in our experience of working in Eagle Pass and other counties, what your suggestions are just did not work over there. And, I think Judge Owens is right. I think the best case scenario is exactly what they've done for other areas like, Rodney Park Estates, what's the song for Russell's that?
Senegas?
Provide the infrastructure and
Let them have it.
let the city provide the water and we pay to the city. I think that's a simpler way.
It is, and you're not asking us, and don't get me wrong, I'm not scared of taking on a challenge, but you're gonna be waiting on us to catch up and figure out what the heck we're doing. And it just doesn't make sense. If we put in this pump, we're gonna spend $8,000 on a pump. That should take care of the system with what we have right now and be able to handle the rest of Quail Trail, all of Buck, and all of Fox. It's that simple.
If I may, Judge Owens, I think that, we're talking about stuff that I think you have written down on your notes, so you can go ahead and.
Well, let's do this. Let's go in the order that we're here, and we'll just go through here. Juan and Darla Lopez, did we cover what y'all needed, or do y'all have questions? Okay. Okay, if you are past, okay. Everything past where Quail Trail's at, further up the hill, we are in the process, and you correct me if I'm wrong, we're in the process right now of doing a study for that area up there. I will tell you that with the pumps and everything that we have, even what we're gonna put in place right now is only going to take care of Quail Trail, Fox, and Buck Trail. If there's anything ever added, and I'm not trying to scare y'all off, but if there's anything ever added past Quail Trail, we will have to run a single line from where the tank is down at the bottom all the way to the top of the hill to put in another type of station to pressurize all the lines. So what is laid up Cocobolo, we will have to lay another water line from the tank that's down at the bottom all the way up to be able to extend water past that. What I can do when we close this hearing, I will put that you're here because you'd like to extend water past Quail Trail, and then that will be brought to the court. But
How many years? Doesn't be here, huh?
the amount, I can tell you that first of all, we have to come back and look at for the study.
Yeah, right quick. Okay, we got another vehicle in place as well, okay? We've got another planning grant, not CDBG, this is planning grant with the Texas Water Development Board, okay? And that is to design the area all the way to the back of Escondido and Rise Estates back in there. It's to acquire any easements that we may need, to complete all the environmental review on that, and so that is currently ongoing as well. Once that is completed, that could be completed within the next 12 months. Texas Water Development Board approves that, well then the county, if they so choose at that time, could apply for funds through that agency just for construction dollars.
So what did you say was completed, once that's completed, what was that?
A planning, it's to do the design.
It's a plan.
Yeah, the engineering design, they call it planning, acquisition, and design.
And then the next step would be for the county to decide whether they want to apply for the grant to bring the water after the phase that is done.
Exactly. It'd be another vehicle.
Sure,
Yeah, moving forward.
sure.
So if I can ask a question on that real quick. So if we move forward and get everything taken care of from Quail Trail, Fox, and all that, then you do the study and find out, okay, yeah, we get the easements, we want to build out to the back of Escondido, the back of Rice, or you have to redesign the front end?
No.
This will be separate and apart?
Well, there's two ways, and I'm not an engineer, but I can tell you about what we've seen. There's two ways of doing it. you run a water line from the tank that's down at the bottom up to the top of the hill, and then connect that one to everything that's already connected, and put a big enough pump and everything there, and a big enough tank to hold that, plus the back, or separate it. And that will be part of the study. Okay. I will tell you, though, that when you ask how long, there's no telling. And Carl just hit on a good point. A lot of people do not like for us to run any more water out there, okay, because of the possibility of subdividing. And then when you get people out there that have, 5, 10 acres, 15, 20 acres, and they want to get into 5 acres now, the system's not designed for that. So then y'all are going to come back to me and say, what the hell, how come my water don't work? All right. So, and then you have also, people that don't want us to continue to put any more water lines out there because of encroachment on Laughlin, because of development. Okay, so in answer to your question, we'll do the study. It'll be brought back to the court to figure out which projects the court wants to move forward with. And I will tell you that your county commissioner sat in this area the other day that we had that deal, and he said if it was up to me, we'd be running water mañana. But it's not up to him. It'll be the decision of a court as to which projects we're willing to take on. But we will need to probably have another hearing like this, and then also listen to everybody else that does not want any more development out there. And I'm not trying to scare y'all off, but that's where we're at. Okay, but we are going through the process of the study.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. Let it be very clear that at the very beginning of this scenario, all this stuff that the county is trying to do was only for those people who are actually living out there at Escondido, Rise Estates, Rancho Del Rio, 6 or 8 years ago when we started it. Development was never even mentioned back then. It was just because it was a hardship case for the people out there that were hauling water. Okay?
So then how do you stop people that buy property and start breaking it up for profit? Like right there in the front, that just a Burke deal.
Well, and that was already sort of grandfathered in, because that property up front that he did as soon as you crossed the tracks and over to the right-hand side, all that was already developed before we started running water line. There is another 240 acres up there that they're fixing to come to us, because they're going to subdivide in 10-acre tracts. If I don't have the water pressure right now, if I don't have the water pressure for the residents that are already out there, I can't vote.
Is that the new people that bought that property right there? You own the parent ranch? Coca-Cola.
He's not saying.
Because they're from Houston, and she's a real estate person. And I know that probably for you.
I've already seen the plat on a property out there, and I will tell you that if we're already having problems with water issues, I don't know how we allow, and I'm not trying to scare those people off from developing, but how do I allow for more development if I'm already having problems with water pressure and I can't hook up the people that are already there? ¿Verdad? And I hope that answered your question.
Maybe on your engineers and the feasibility study, you can talk to maybe the people from the big city, San Antonio, because how do they, they're.
The only way that we can do it, well, I can tell you that the only way that we're going to be able to do it is because, in my mind, when I voted for this water line back in 2011, when Commissioner Ramon first brought it, it was to service the individuals that were out there and the lots that were there. That was the whole reason, to get water to the people that were already out there. And that comment was made here over and over and over and over again. There was comments made during those commissioners' court meetings that how do you stop them? Well, my vote is not to let them do it, because if I'm not able to run water and service the people that were already out there, how do I allow for more development below where I'm trying to get water to at the end of the day that could cost y'all that have been there for longer than what they have been to get water today? So we'll probably end up getting sued. That's probably what's going to happen, but what the hell? I mean, it's one of those deals that, the water lines were run for the people that were already out there. Okay.
So these people
Chris?
pretty much show up, and if they're down there, they get it first, that's what you're pretty much saying?
They get one water tap. As far as I'm concerned, you get one water tap that I don't control anymore because that water line has been given over to the city. Okay? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I mean, hell, it is the way it is, but I can tell you that I won't vote I personally cannot, in good faith, give water to people that were not there to begin with, and it's gonna cost the people that I've already laid water lines to, and they've been there forever, to get their water meter. Okay? Rios? Chris, Rios?
For the people that are right next to me, that they want to know when is this water coming? For 47 years, that's how long I've been out there. So it's not something that's gonna get done overnight. I live on Quail Trail, I'm right at the edge, so it's not gonna get done overnight.
Well, and she's right. I mean, it is what it is, but I will tell you that the court under Judge Allen, the court under Judge Valdez, and this court right here have spent an enormous amount of money in order to make sure that y'all have water. Has it moved fast enough? If you live out there, no, it hasn't. But you look at before 2011 and what has happened, nothing happened. So once you see something moving on, then it should move faster, right? But, yes, yeah. But at the end of the day, we do have issues, and I'm not gonna say with the city, we have issues. The county has issues. We need to fix the problem in order to get pressure built up. That we've already set money aside. We're at $420,000 we've already put aside. Commissioner Wardlaw, out of his budget's already set aside another $30,000. He's gonna have to set aside more money, for gate valves that we didn't realize till the day that they're gonna be needed. I'm not gonna throw rocks at the city. We have our own issues here. We will continue to work with them, and if there's something that we need to do to make sure that the pipe that we've already got buried, you can turn on your water, and we're gonna do it. The grant that we already have with the pipe that's already out there, that it gets buried and that we get water in it. Okay.
Let me say something real quick.
I can't see.
You say you've been living in Escondido Place, how long? 47. I was just thinking, my mom, she comes from Mexico, from this little ranchito, Illinois, called Santa Maria. And I remember when I'm actually 42. I remember my grandma putting a bucket in the well, getting some water. Now, all those ranches in Mexico, they have water. It's a shame that Escondido doesn't have water. Another thing I want to say is, a lot of you are here, don't give up. Especially when it comes time to vote, you need to keep the same people here. Because every time they change, this thing takes a back burner.
Yeah.
So if you see the people that are doing their job here, those are the people you need to vote for. And you need to get out there and vote. I'm just saying, after 47 years, it's a shame. We're in the United States.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm one of the people that's been here, was here 10 years ago. Okay, I'm here again. And what I hear,
What's your name, ma'am?
Nancy Scott.
Okay, you were next in line.
Sorry.
Are you good? You're good? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what I understood, it sounded like to me, you said, there's a big probability there will never be any water
No, ma'am.
where I am.
I don't know where you're at.
Past the water tank on the top where she is, all the way down Coca-Cola. The old Jack Hill branch.
Is that called, is that a Ventas Rice Estate? That's still part of
That's it,
Escondido.
at the bottom.
The Rise is where we are.
We have 158 acres out
That's
there.
Escondido, okay, now we have 46.
And it just sounded like to me, I mean, it doesn't matter if you got 1 acre or if you got half an acre, that's not the point. The point is, it sounded like to me, you said, maybe you get water before you die, maybe you won't. That's what it sounded like to me you just said.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and, that's a pretty good analogy. You're not gonna like my answer, but I will tell you that, we're working towards it. We're doing a study out there, but it still has to come back before Commissioner's Court. I don't know how they're gonna vote, and depending on where there's more need at, and there's only so much money to apply for, depending on how many people that we're gonna service by running how many, this next phase is 14,000 linear feet, almost 3 miles, which is, again, quail and fox or whatever. And we're only servicing out of all that line, 20 people,
Maybe 18 homes.
20 homes. So if you look at where else we might have water lines to install, we're gonna have to look to check and see if the benefit, for every dollar that we spend.
But I think
But
the area that she's talking
did
about.
we do that the last time, 10 years ago?
We did.
When you were doing that
I
study.
mean, the study, did we do that study 10 years ago?
We did a study to check and see how many people we would service. From Quail Trail up, that's the study that we're doing right now. Mhm.
And that's not, you didn't do that study 10
No.
years ago when we were sitting here and all of that?
I can tell you that we're paying right now almost $900,000 of what was in that account in order to do a study from Quail Trail out. That's what we're doing right now.
I'm just confused because 10 years ago.
I don't know. I can tell you that the study that I looked at was up to Quail Trail.
So
All right.
then we were misinformed.
Yes, ma'am, I guess. I will tell you that the study that I looked at and everything that we voted on in 2011 and 2012, when Ramiro was leading the charge on this, was to get up to Quail Trail and get all that done. There was more money since back then, this money's been sitting there to do the rest of it from Quail Trail further out. And that, we've just started that process this year. Okay?
I have one other question.
Yes, ma'am.
You were up to me. The pipe that was at Quail Trail that disappeared, did that come out of our money?
The pipe that was at Quail Trail and disappeared, we buried some pipe in another precinct that they should not have buried. And then we picked up pipe, from precinct, 4, that on a road that did not exist, to make up the pipe that we buried somewhere else. Don't make a face, I'm telling you the truth,
So
okay?
we got the pipe back?
Yes, ma'am. And where the pipe is on Quail Trail, where it ended, is where it was supposed to be at. The problem was that we were missing pipe. The pipe was buried in another precinct, through no fault of theirs. That's where it was delivered, and they buried it. So when we went out and started hunting pipe, we measured pipe, measured the road where it should have stopped and where it did stop, and we were short some pipe, or that's where the pipe was buried. Commissioner Flores had pipe on a road that was not a county road, so we took his pipe that was left over, gave it to precinct 1, and that's all on record in Commissioner's Court. ¿Verdad? And we ended up burying the right amount of pipe in order to fulfill the grant. That answer your question?
Just real quick to follow up on that, Judge, on that pipe that's been on that property next to.
Yeah.
You guys do have a count of all those?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And I can tell you that what we did, and
The only reason I'm asking is because you do know a bunch of that pipe's on it, right? And they have not started laying that pipe anymore?
well, we were out there 2 weeks ago on a Friday, and what was delivered was there. And I know that because I was there. And
It's coming for it?
everything. And I can tell you what we did. When we first started this, we would turn everything into the city on one plan. Everything. Turn them in on one plan, city would approve it. We'd order pipe. That pipe would come in, and it was just delivered. You counted pipe, didn't know exactly whether it went to precinct 1, 2, or 4, but we knew that we got all the pipe in. We got all the gate valves in, we got all the backflows in, we got everything in. When we had to deal with the pipe, we switched up, visited with Carl. So every plan, the 3 plans were divided into, the 3 projects were divided into 3 plans. So what we put in place was that not only would the foreman have to sign off, so would our purchasing agent, so would Carlos Velarde, which is our engineer. So when stuff comes in, you have the foreman, you have Melissa, which is our purchasing agent, and you have Carlos Velarde looking at everything that comes in and checking it off the list that just came in. We have still not received pipe for especially precinct 1. For all the pipe that should come in for all that has not come in. But I will tell you that 2 weeks ago on a Friday, we were out there, and we counted every joint of pipe, every gate valve, the backflows that have come in so far and checked them off the list. Not only that, but our fire hydrants, are taller, or I say taller, they're longer, taller, whatever you want to call than what we ordered. And the reason for that was, and is because they couldn't get us the 3-footers or 4-footers that we needed, so they brought us 5-footers. That's how in-depth all this counting and everything is today.
And I think based on what the lady said and based on what Mr. Rodriguez said right now, I don't think the concern so much is if we're receiving the proper supplies, it's keeping the proper supplies.
I can tell you, Ms. Fuentes, that they go out there every 2 weeks and count for the simple reason that I don't want to have a commissioner's court meeting where I'm trying to answer you and don't have your answers. All right?
I remember we were here when you asked the question about where's the material for Escondido Estate, and the purchasing agent got up and said, we don't have it. And that's just.
And I can tell you what we did when we left there. When we left here, we went with Carlos, and we physically went out there with a wheel and a ruler, and then he took that $28,000 piece of equipment, satellite equipment, and he measured the pipe that was there and what was lacking in precinct 1. And then we went to precinct 2, and no fault of Commissioner Vasquez, we had given him the pipe, he buried it. He buried every damn joint he had, but it wasn't his fault. He buried it. And it's up Tierra Blanca, the pipe,
So I think what Mr. Rodriguez is saying that, was that today or a few days ago that you saw that the pile of pipe is less?
That's all the time. So,
Well, I can tell you that 2 weeks ago on Friday, what was delivered, in the last 2 months, that pipe was there.
so I can give you photos and videos of people going for a pipe and taking off with them.
If you get it to me, I can tell you that that's against the law, and we will prosecute them, and we will prosecute them.
It's not residents, it's county people.
No.
So someone is telling these county employees to take them. That's the thing. And if the grant calls for those pipes to be for a certain area, they should be for that area.
And that's how come we ended up having to move pipe from precinct 4 that we would have had to return, in precinct 1. And that bill was taken here in open court.
That were on that property that they couldn't find it, we have to reorder those again?
No. None of that pipe we had to reorder. I'm telling you, they buried it somewhere else. And again, when we did where's the pipe at? We physically went out there with the county engineer. Me and him went out and we measured, where we were supposed to stop and how much more pipe was laid. And then we measured where the pipe stopped and where it should have gone to. So we had numbers in all 3 precincts as to where it should have been and where it went to.
Are we getting that back from those precincts, or what's gonna happen there?
No, we fulfilled the grant. You're not getting any more pipe back. No, it's not the problem, because we buried what the grant said I should bury.
But it wasn't meant for a certain area, and it got
No,
buried.
but you're talking about a particular precinct and you're talking about Escondido Estate. Were you talking about?
I can tell you that Escondido, the last grant that we had, we fulfilled the grant because we met the linear feet that was necessary to fulfill the grant.
Go right up there and close to Mr. Rios' house.
Mhm. So at the end of the day, whether the pipe that they had was buried somewhere else, it didn't matter because we fulfilled the grant and buried the same linear feet we were supposed to bury.
Get back the pipe that he has proof that someone said, good.
I can tell you that if he has pictures of people taking pipe, and now that he's brought this to my attention, and if this has happened in the last 2 weeks,
No, it was prior to that, it was in November.
okay, I can tell you that 2 weeks ago when we went, the pipe that was dropped off was all there, because we counted it. There was 4 of us out there. Okay. And I will send somebody tomorrow to go recount whatever's there.
And if I may, I think to eliminate everybody's concern here, what the county did is exactly to eliminate any problem or concern that the county executed 3 individual contracts with the material supplier, Core & Main out of San Antonio. 1 contract for precinct 1, one contract for precinct 2, and 1 for precinct 4. And that way, when the trucks came to Val Verde County to deliver that pipe on those contracts, Core & Main knew exactly where it was supposed to go. Contract for precinct 1 went to precinct 1, contract for materials for precinct 2 went to precinct 2. So it wasn't like they just took it to one location and then everybody had to go in there and kind of get what was theirs. So that was a reason to eliminate any of that concern up front by having each precinct have their individual materials delivered to their respective sites. Okay?
Who's next on the judgment?
Second.
And a lot of those questions have actually been answered, but just like Ms. Fuentes said, we're kind of here just under one voice. We are asking that hopefully this amount that you guys are seeking
More money.
Used for areas, whether it be ours, I hope, the other areas that are needed, but that actually get, and, the only other, a lot of these have been answered, but the only other question is just based on research. Back in 2015, under Commissioner, Ramon, I believe there was $942,000 that was received for first-time water services for Escondido, Ryan, and Rancho Del Rio.
But what was the name of that grant?
It was,
Texas Water Development
yeah,
Board?
it's the thing, it's.
No, this is CDBG, is there a difference?
It's part of it.
Different.
Then,
But it's part of it.
The one you're referencing is the planning grant that's going on right now.
Okay, that's why you mentioned it, so it's still from way back then, and it still happens.
Yeah, that money is good, okay? It's in an escrow account.
A bank and trust.
That study is being conducted currently, I'm gonna say it's 20% done.
so that's used for a study.
Yeah,
20% done?
yeah.
We still have 80% to go?
You're good.
I mean, that seems like very little if from 20,
No, but we hadn't pulled the trigger on it. That just happened this year.
What has happened on that?
why did nothing happen? Like, I mean, I don't live in a school state, I have water, I live in a state. You're so that, but we have water, we have everything. But what's baffling to me, and I don't live.
Why does it take so long?
That's it. Since the.
I can tell you that we applied for this money, and then we submitted the plans that we have now a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, right, to the city. Okay, for what we're doing today, what we're fixing to start today, we're submitted at least, I can honestly say, a year and a half ago. We just got permission in the 6th of December to lay water line in precinct 2. 2 weeks before that, or a week before that, we got permission to lay water line in precinct 4. And that's been over a year and a half now. Okay, so when you ask me how come, it's just government. Does it move fast enough? No. I mean, I don't see how come. We hadn't pulled the trigger on doing the other study because we weren't able to get what we already had money for the pipe, and already had purchased pipe and everything. Or waiting on pipe to come in. So how do I go spend money on this study when I can't get done the first phase? And at the end of the day, if I don't get done with the first phase, how do I ask money and take a chance on having to pay the money back? Because I didn't get done with the first phase and be able to hook up to it, but I'm asking to do a study and I don't have that pipe in the ground.
And then correct us if we're wrong, the way, when we did our research, all this grant money, whether it be Texas Water Development Board or the CDBG monies, grants, it's been Escondido, Rice, and Rancho Del Rio. Rancho Del Rio has been completed. Correct.
With CDBG.
With CDBG money. Okay, so that leaves Escondido State, that would include that maybe.
Back over there.
Back over there, right? Which is the $942,000 that is supposed to be used to complete the rest of the 80% of the planning, research.
Just planning,
Planning,
not construction.
just planning.
Yeah.
$900,000.
Yeah, the $900,000 planning grant, none of that is to buy pipe.
That's just for research.
It's to do all the study to make sure that, yes, we do have the right size pump. Yes, we do have the right size diameter pipe. Yes, we do have.
The tanks, everything.
So was that year correct, 2015, 2016?
What?
Was that year correct, that's when they put in, the court voted to apply and receive $942,000 to do that plan?
Was it in 15?
Yeah.
Well, let's see, that'd have been 7, 8 years.
Okay, that's the issue. In fact, you nailed it. why has it taken so long to do a planning? From 2000?
Well, and I just told you, we didn't want to pull the trigger on the planning because we didn't have the first part put in. How do I go in there?
Oh, you wanted to do this first part?
I'd like to get somewhat done.
Actually,
You
the
know.
county, if I may, actually, the county approved a plan with the CDBG funds. They've had 4 grants funded and approved, actually expedited the process. I mean, look at the amount of pipe that's already put in the ground and the people that can be served out there in relation to this doing the planning. So they moved over to the CDBG fund because they come around more often than waiting on the complete design of the whole area out there.
And then and I'm glad both of you clarified, what we're here for is for future, and the 500,000.
But you know, we're already here, so if we can answer questions, let's just go ahead and do it. I will tell you that, you know, the young lady over here, she said a little while ago that it's taken so long or whatever. To give you an idea, if the commissioners had not buried the pipe, to move forward with this, the grant that we're working on right now that we have, plus the 400,000 that we put aside, the $1 million I'll put, whatever it is, they wanted $868,000 labor to bury the pipe on Quail Trail, Fox, and Buck. That's a bid from a company out of Eagle Pass. So when y'all say, well, God, it's taking so long, when you look at what the county commissioners have done and what these courts have done since 2011 by taking the task of burying the pipe, y'all would have about 1/5 of the pipe put in the
You
ground.
have a couple of people here in the county that did that, and yes, you saved a lot of money by using
County employees.
You know what? And the Board of Administration recognizes the amount of linear feet that this county, this last, how long have you been a commissioner?
Been here 12 years.
12 years. The amount of work that you have done, especially in precinct 2, off of Hamilton Lane, and now Vega Verde, we understand that. But when I met Mr. Rodriguez, was when he was up here talking to you guys about the train. Remember that? That's the first time I met him. And I went up there and I engaged in a conversation. I said, you know that the border organization was instrumental in getting drinking water to Escondido State? And he said, what water? There's no water in Escondido State. I said, you're kidding me. We've been working with Commissioner Ramon. That's how we got involved.
No, and I will tell you that again, I mean, we never move fast enough. I get it. But, you know, at some point, you know, and I don't know whether y'all are going to realize it or not, but these 3 courts that have been here, that I've been part of, and even the court before, but the amount of pipe and the amount of money that we've borrowed and the amount of money that we spent up from tax dollars, other than just grant money, has been amazing, okay? Again, if they hadn't have taken the task, the commissioners, to bury this pipe, y'all would be, I mean, we'd have water down there at the tank, nothing else. And then you say, well, it's not up my hill, it's not where I want water. It's not. But we did get water to a bunch of other people that needed it also. And, you know, we sort of, you know, took one bite at a time. Am I going to make you happy today? No, it's not going to happen. We go through the process right now and do the study. You know, it's going to tell us how many people are out there, how much pipe it is. They're going to tell us what the cost is, because we don't know. You know, when these projects started, I can tell you that a year and a half ago, I paid for C900 pipe, which is 8-inch water pipe. I paid $12 a foot. This go round was $33, 32 and change a foot. ¿Verdad?
That's 500,000 from the last CDBG money?
What now?
The 500,000 from last year. Where is that money being spent? I thought they named something, they named
It
what?
was right as the Escondido and San Felipe.
Pastures.
Pastures, yes.
And that's where we had to add another $420,000 to.
So,
So that money's already spent?
Yes, sir.
okay, and the bulk of it was spent where? Somebody in the country?
No.
The 500 would have been, in 18, that would have done the first half of Rancho Del Rio, and it would have done, they may have extended some on, I gotta go back and check, maybe on Bonita. And
Tierra Blanca,
could have been some.
down the
out there.
highway and down Tierra Blanca. But the money that we're using right now, I guess that's your question. The money that we're using right now is the money that we just added $420,000 for.
Part of the 500 from the previous,
No, that was $1 million.
the previous CD.
Went to three, it was divided
This
by
one,
three precincts,
this one,
the ones that we're doing right
this one.
now.
But in all those monies, some of it has been spent on some of the other states.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now that this patch that we're working on right now, there's more pipe being laid out at Escondido than anywhere else. There's almost 3 miles at Escondido.
14,000
Okay.
feet. They varies 10,000 and,
And I'm glad I have him here because I get really confused unless it's written down and I didn't bring my cheat
Well,
sheet.
actually, Judge Owens, I mean, I don't know how the Escondido residents feel about this,
Where's our
but
commissioner here?
where's the commissioner
That's
on
not
that
the first one,
precinct?
like, I invite him.
You're very knowledgeable, you're very knowledgeable, but where's your commissioner?
I'm not gonna throw rocks at nobody. I'm here to try to help y'all understand what's going on, but I will tell you, I didn't bring my cheat sheet with the Texas CDBG and then put a number to it with the deal, because I've literally had to go through there and ask them, look, can we just be specific on what we asked for, put a number to it, and please put Escondido or whatever we're looking at.
Well, and the reason the board station is here, in organizing, people, and she's from a different area, but we want to continue working with this commissioner's court and just following through and accountability that grant money is used for it's supposed to be.
And I can tell you the one question, and she brought it up about the pipe. We made sure, right after the comments here, that we would put something else in place, and Carl just went through it, that we put something else in place, not to have the mess that we had when all the pipe was delivered and said, here it is, everybody go pick your shit
yeah,
up.
we had, I think we eliminated that concern.
Yeah, that was the impression if it's meant for Escondido, I said it has to be used or not
Mhm.
somewhere else. But
Yeah, and you're right,
it's-
you're right.
It's all over the place.
No, the one before this project, I will tell you that we could not finish the linear feet on Quail Trail because that pipe was buried somewhere else.
But
Okay?
in order to meet that grant, and tell me that gets buried somewhere, another precinct.
No, what we did is because if not, we'd had to pay for it out of our pocket. So instead of asking for some money, instead of asking for money for precinct 4 because they'd done more work than what they were supposed to do, we took the pipe that he had left over and took it as a credit and took that pipe that he had left over because there was a road that was not ours, so we'd ordered an extra pipe. And we took that pipe and took it to Quail Trail and buried that pipe over there.
Why
Just,
does that happen though? Is there not like a, yeah, I mean, like.
there was, but evidently,
Do this one, do that one?
you know, I can't tell you what happened. I can tell you the process that we took in order to fix it. And we took steps that next day. I'm not out on the field every day, or I don't do it. I try to go out, but I also try to stay out of every commissioner's way and let them do their job. But once we found out there was a problem, we fixed it. And we took measures so it didn't happen again.
Yeah, by having the precincts each have their own project and have the trucks deliver their materials to their project, I think eliminated that problem.
Is there a timeframe on grant money, like the 900,000 for the planning? Is there a timeframe? You're chuckling, did I hit a sore note somewhere?
No, it's open-ended.
It's open.
On the study.
On the study's open ended.
Yeah, on these other grants, it's a 24-month project. Due to the material supply issue, the county requested
And
additional
that's what I'm gonna
time.
beg on it.
Yeah,
They took longer because the
That's
material
COVID.
wasn't there.
the COVID deal, you can't get
Well,
pipe.
that's what I was gonna ask you, because you said we had leftover pipe, so they took it to precinct 1. They have not even finished their project yet.
They haven't finished what project?
The water line?
No, they haven't finished your project out there yet because they weren't able to start because they didn't have a pipe to be able to start. That's another grant.
I thought you said that the pipe that was left over went to
Was,
precinct 1.
it did, no, yes, but the pipe that was left over was for a road from the previous grant that we should have never,
Okay,
ever put on the
previous grant.
field.
It wasn't the 2019 grant.
No, it was 2 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
17, 18.
Okay,
17.
then we're still needing our piping.
No. And I can tell you, and we've had this conversation. I mean, you called, and how come it's taken so long? How come it's taken so long? We couldn't get pipe. And not only that, they wouldn't deliver anything to us. And we're still missing stuff.
Short,
Yeah.
still have some.
And I think I see my name next.
You're it. You're it.
I just want to say one thing to everybody here. I work with multiple counties, okay, doing these projects, trying to be successful and providing people a better quality of life. There is not another county in the state of Texas that is as dedicated and has done what Val Verde County has done in the last 10 years, applying for funds and to provide a better quality of life for people who live out in an unincorporated area. It doesn't happen, folks. It just doesn't happen. It's not a priority with other counties. It has been a priority with Val Verde County. In addition to that, they have been good stewards with their funds that they have received by doing it in-house. The judge here just mentioned they got a quote from a contractor in Eagle Pass to install the pipe that's laying out there on Quail Trail right now, over $800,000 just to put that in, and they're providing the material.
I put a bug in the commissioner's court here and tell them,
Well, you know,
By doing it in-house and using their own employees, they've been able to stretch, put in maybe twice as
Yeah,
much.
we've been working
Does it
with
seem like a
them.
whole lot? If
Yeah,
you're
we
down
can
on the
argue
end of the
that.
line, I know it's not ever enough, but at the end of the day, I mean, they get the biggest bang for the buck.
do y'all have a pen? I'm gonna give y'all my cell phone number in case y'all have questions. And we'll go to you right now. Okay. You already have mine. Yeah. My number is 830-734-0575. And whatever questions, you know, usually when you leave something like this, you all usually have more questions.
One more time, please.
830-734-0575. I was gonna give y'all Bo's number, that'd have been me, right?
you don't mind us calling you?
No, I don't. If I don't answer, I'm probably on the phone. If I'm in a meeting or somewhere, I won't answer, but if you'll send me a text, even if I'm in a meeting, I can usually text back right away.
What's the timeline on the water pumps?
We have sent the pump to the city, and we're waiting on them to get back with us to see if that's the pump that they will accept.
When did you send it to them?
I'm thinking last week is when Carlos said he was gonna send it to me. But I'll check with Carlos tomorrow. And see what he did. I do know that he did have a design. We'd set aside $10,000, and I think the pump was a little bit less than 8. It'll do 750 or 800 gallons a minute. We have 250-gallon pumps there. Take out one. They are pressure, the two that are there are pressure activated. The tank is sitting on 60 pounds of, and that's another thing that might fix it. Short term, is that the tank is sitting on 60 pounds of pressure. So we had less than 30 pounds up on top of the hill. So if the tank, the system on the plans was designed to set it at 80 pounds of pressure. And if we set it at 80 pounds of pressure, the study, whatever, says that we should have 41 pounds up on top of the hill. The drop dead number is 35. So if the city was gonna look to check and see about setting the tank at 80 pounds, the problem that we have is setting it at 80 pounds, sometimes the backflows and everything down on the bottom. 80 pounds of pressure, they should handle it, but might not. So we were a little bit concerned about the pressure. But that was something that Carlos had also sent to the city, and they said that they were gonna look at maybe adjusting the pressure to check and see if we could get 41 pounds of pressure up on top. That would take care of the pressure, the problem with the pressure for houses. But it's not gonna take care of the fire hydrant, because the fire hydrants need about 750 gallons a minute. So the first pump would be, I'm not winking at you, mine starts twitching, okay? So it just starts twitching. The pumps downstairs are pressure activated, they'll turn on. But the 750 gallon a minute pump, once it gets put on, would be flow activated, not so much by pressure. As soon as the demand is there, it would turn on.
And then just to make sure that everybody understands, like Pancho Del Rio, that's good to go. Most of the people, correct me if I'm wrong, have not connected because they First of all, they.
Well, I can tell you,
Ready to go.
we had that conversation, and we had it here, and I got up there and pointed at stuff and everything. And I told you that I'd lied, because I was misinformed. The whole time that we've been dealing with this, we thought that the backflows were installed. There was money set aside, for backflows. There was money set aside not only for the backflows, but for the nipples, the elbows, the T's, the cutoffs, everything. There was money set aside for that. And getting to whether or not we have a count before you say that, we do, because I went out there and checked them. They're there. They weren't installed. We set aside money for it. They weren't installed. I think we ended up with an issue with the rock saw at some point. There might have been some money out of that account, out of Commissioner Wardlaw's account to pay for a rock saw that we broke. But at the end of the day, backflow's not installed. So one of the main reasons that we went out to Quail Trail was to count how many backflows are there, and then to see, what else we needed to buy to make that happen. And this one here, I've gotten 3 or 4 different numbers. There's either 36 or 42, and I know there's six there, but that are missing, because I think there was 36 up to, Quail Trail, Quail Trail and Cocobolo, and then back this way, there were 6 more that needed to be in that area. So I think there was 42 total. So, we're working, we're getting a bid. We got a bid from an individual here here in town. We've gotten 2 bids from companies in Uvalde to do the backflow installation. Since that has changed, on the other backflows that were installed in precincts 2 and precinct 4, there was a backflow permit that the city, wanted. Since that has changed, over the last 2 weeks. So basically, they're not going to go out and inspect the backflows outside of the city limits, but there's a piece of paper that comes with the backflow that will have to be filled in and turned into the state, which that was done anyway, but that eliminates a permit fee from the city. So we got a price from an individual here to install the backflows. There was a permit fee included in that. So Melissa, yesterday, on the phone with her, she was going to call them to tell them, look, they're not charging us a permit fee, so you can't charge us. So what do you want to do? If you want to keep your fee, if you want to keep your installation rate the same, or you're going to deduct it? So we should have an answer, this week on who is going to be picked, to install the backflows on all the pipe that is laid, which would include Quail Trail. We won't be able to turn on Quail Trail, but everything below it we should be able to turn on, and people should be able to, if you have a meter there, we're going to put a backflow. If you don't have a meter there today, you will have to visit with the city about paying a water tap and a backflow. I don't know if that's clear. Ms. Ortiz?
Judge Owens, on the backflow, there's miscommunication with the employees, the foreman, and the commissioner. I asked an employee, he said, I'll get you a backflow. We asked the foreman, I have to go to purchase it and get you a backflow. Asked the commissioner, you have to get a plumber to get you the backflow.
Okay, I can tell you right now that if you have a meter installed on any piece of pipe that is buried, the way it should work is that if you have a meter today installed, we should end up providing you a backflow. If we don't provide you a backflow, which there's 42 of them right now that need to be installed on pipe that is already laid, then the way it should work is that you go down to the city, get your meter, get your backflow. But if you have a meter today and they've installed you a meter, that meter number we should already have, and we should provide a backflow for you, okay, on pipe that is already buried.
One of the things that I see that needs to be done is, we need a step-by-step to the residents. Okay, you do this, you do that, you go to the city, you talk to the city, you apply. A lot of people don't know what to do.
And what we will do, I don't know what would be the best form, and I guess I'll leave it up to y'all. What would be the best form to use to get that information out to you?
Well, they have you're organized already through Snapchat.
We have a WhatsApp.
Oh, they have a.
Okay, so
People don't know how to use those things.
okay, so what would be the best way? Do we put up a sign?
I would like to see something in writing.
Okay.
Give me a step one, I'm old school.
I don't
And I do
wanna
the
see
same
nothing-
thing.
I don't wanna see nothing on the computer, I want something in writing that I can refer back to.
What I will do tomorrow is get with, Carlos and Elizabeth and the commissioner and have them put something down to where we can get it sent to you. What we can do is if you're on the list right now, people that are already out there, maybe we just get it walked to you and delivered and put like you said, a step-by-step. If you have a meter, bottom line is we should install a backflow. If you don't have a meter, you're gonna have to go to the city. Okay, I will tell you that in the last week, it has gotten easier with the city. If you live outside the city limits to be able to go get service, because in all the other service lines that were installed, in precincts 2 and precinct 4, you'd have to get a plumber to a permit, and then they would go inspect your house or whatever. And my understanding, and it might change before tomorrow, but my understanding last week was that all that was gonna go away.
And that's what we were told beforehand,
That was the confusion.
yeah.
Yep, yeah. And, okay, she keeps telling me to go, so.
You're okay. All right, well, it's the same thing. I'm here also because of CDBG. And, like I was telling you, there's about 21 more residents that are not gonna have any water, and that's including my family. We've been out there since 1977 on Vega Verde, and no water lines out there.
But
And so
the,
now that we just got this new grant,
yeah.
but still further back, there's 21 residents that actually live.
I can tell you, that Commissioner Flores, and again, it might change before tomorrow, has said that he wants to continue to extend water down Vega Verde. All right?
Did you say when?
If you'll go from where they started digging today, if you'll go approximately 2 miles, 10,000 feet, that's where it's gonna terminate with where they started today.
I actually pulled it from the computer when all your.
And I sent you a copy
information.
also.
Okay,
When you sent me a copy, it's going all the way down to 7159.
okay.
But after 7159, like I said, there are 21 residents.
And I will tell you that is on his, as far as I know, in talking to him, might change by tomorrow. He's gonna extend it, or we will apply for funds to extend it. And you're asking me a timeline, I can't tell you.
No,
I really can't. It's
2
taking,
years.
not even gonna commit
Nothing like that.
to a
Okay.
century,
All
yeah.
right, I know. Yeah, I know. Okay, the other thing
Not
is,
too much though, okay?
you know how Moreno Valley and Pace Miller, that they forced COVID to take it off the list. Now, doesn't it take about 3 years before they can actually take it off the log?
Not an attorney, not gonna lie to you, I don't know.
No? Oh, you don't know. Yeah.
So why did you just start off like that?
Well, because we wanted to see what you're gonna say. No. Anyways, it's supposed to be maintained, and it's not maintained, Judge Jones. If you go up there, there's all these holes, the bamboo's overgrown. It's really
So the
dangerous.
bottom line is this, only because this court voted to take off Pace Miller and Old Foster off the board does not mean that they stopped maintaining those 2 roads. The process is, and I'll check with the state again, the process is, it takes 3 years to take a road off the board. That's number 1. Number 2, you have to make sure that nobody's used that road in 3 years. People live in Pace Miller and they live in Old Foster Road, they're not gonna stop using that road, that's 2. Number 3, the county has to find an alternate road. And if you take Pace Miller off, that's the only street that connects Vega Verde to Moreno Valley. And you don't have another alternative route.
And you know I'm not gonna say anything towards that, right? Yeah, not gonna do
I
it.
just wanted you to be aware, because it doesn't seem like the commissioner's court was aware of that.
You told us you don't do roads, the commissioners do roads, is what you told us.
Yes, ma'am, and I will tell you as commissioner, we did do roads,
Actually, that should be your first responsibility, roads and bridges, isn't it?
as a commissioner,
As a commissioner.
but I'm not throwing rocks.
But none of your commissioners are here.
I will tell you, not gonna answer, I'm not gonna comment on what you just said, okay? Not being to be disrespectful, but I'm not gonna open up a can of worms that I might insert foot in mouth. I do a really good job inserting foot in mouth on everything else. The pipe, we corrected it. You're concerned, we corrected it. We put something in place to make sure it wouldn't happen again. You're concerned about what happens past the hill and even Sergio, what happens past the hill. We'll wait on the study. It'll be brought back to the court, and then we'll go from there. I can tell you that, Carl just said a year probably completed from here. So timeline, you'd be looking at probably money in 2 years. In 2 years is when, 2 years from today would probably be a good time that we would be applying for other funds, either for that area or other areas. Okay, if the study gets done and it's approved.
And then the 500,000 that we're here for future use, will be going to these areas.
The 500,000,
CDBG money.
those monies right there will have to go before the court. We're allowed to check and see what they want. What I'll do is tell them that within this hearing that they need to get on, all this thing is recorded, that they need to get on and listen to it. But I've taken down, need to
So
extend.
don't know that this was,
Yes.
people are saying we wanted for Escondido.
Well, Escondido, I can tell you that we're looking at Escondido, extending past, Quail Trail, because from Quail Trail in, the other 2 streets, that pipe is the one sitting out there. I will tell you that part of that money, the Vega Verde, Gus has already said that he wants to extend whatever we don't get done this 2 miles, after the 2 miles, he's looking at trying to apply for that. There's other projects that they want to get done. I will tell you that Moreno Valley, in this round, not gonna be there.
Question.
Yes, sir.
The grants, do you have to deplete the funds before you get any grant?
I wish you hadn't asked that one. The answer, if we have to deplete, it's not so much deplete the funds, it's that I have to,
Deplete.
yeah. It's not so much that I have to,
You use up all the.
No,
grants first, before you can apply.
it's not so much deplete, I have to fulfill the grant. Spend the money, bury the pipe. Okay? So in answer to your question, yes. We have a deadline of April 3rd.
That's the one that you were talking about.
Yeah. And I will tell you that everybody's gonna have to pick up speed. Commissioner Flores started burying pipe. His is gonna be easy. He's in sand. Precinct 2, his on Tierra Blanca, SL 79, and Paisano. His will get hard as the closer he gets to SL 79, as far as digging. So yes, answered your question. The answer is yes. We were talking about it a little while ago. We had a permit to dig on SL 79 between Paisano and Tierra Blanca. That permit has expired. In visiting with Carlos today, they will be turning in another application to get that done, to ask for a permit, which is good for 90 days. So,
Permit or extension?
no, a permit. I need a permit to be able to dig on SL 79 on highway, on TxDOT right of way.
Escondido Street, is that it, Clifford?
Huh?
No.
No,
Is there a time frame deadline for Escondido Street?
April 3rd.
April 3rd. Okay, so if you're gonna hit that, what if you don't complete it? What happens?
Let me answer that. So, the deadline on the existing grant is January 31st. Okay?
This year?
28 days from today.
But
We requested an extension to the state agency due to a delay in of the materials being delivered to Valverde County for 6 months. 6-month extension. That extends us out to July, which is very doable. But the county is going to do everything possible to be completed by April 3rd, so they'll be eligible to reapply for these new funds.
And this is where I was going with these questions, because the county has a lot to gain, or a lot to lose.
We have a lot to lose.
Fulfill timelines and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're doing their earnest to get their house in order and complete the project by April 3rd. And when I say complete the project, you gotta get the paperwork in the state agency, and, all the way out there.
And part of the problem is that precincts 2 and precinct 4 have their pipe here. We're missing stuff on precinct 1. We're still missing stuff. So we're working on a process that would bring in a rock saw this in the next couple of weeks to begin digging. And when I get the phone calls, why are they digging and then filling the ditch back in? If that is the process, if we lived in a perfect world, he would dig the ditch, bury the pipe, and we go on. But I've got to get the ditch dug until some of these other people from these other precincts go help. Commissioner Vasquez and Commissioner Flores have both said that they would go help. And to what extent, I don't know. But I will tell you that we will have to pick up speed in order to be able to make sure that we're eligible to apply for more funds, and that's why we're here today. Is what
And
Fort
so
Wood
real
applied.
estate people can expect to see some movement.
Yeah. And we will be asking from different things from the city. We don't want to hook up, we're going to be a little bit creative here. We don't want to hook up to the city water line because they've not given us permission to lay the pipe. So this week, we will be asking if we can go ahead and bury the pipe, which we can't, and not hook it up until we get the rest of it, get the water pressure up to where they want it. And we'll have a couple of months to get that fixed, ¿verdad? For the other part.
Let us know if we can be of any help for the city at all. I know that we met with them already in the past.
Yo nada más quería hacer una pregunta.
Mande.
Es fuera de esto, pero ya empezamos el año 2023. ¿Tienen contemplado ya cambiar las juntas para en la tarde? Para que pueda venir más gente. Sé que seguimos insistiendo en lo mismo, pero sí
Lo que
necesitamos.
puedo hacer, lo puedo poner en la agenda y a ver si votan por él. Es todo lo que puedo hacer.
Can
Okay?
you let us know when it'll be so we can talk to the commissioners before that?
Yeah, it'll be next year sometime.
Next year?
Give me, till the first meeting in February. And the reason I say that is because we're gonna have the two meetings that are coming up have a possibility to get a little bit loud. So I'd rather not
For the
have, first meeting in February. I will put it on the first meeting in February. And I can give you a date,
Yes, Ms. Miguel?
I try to pick my battles to where I don't have them all because we still have to get along. We have the meeting on 17th and 21st. It'll be on the 14th of February. Yeah, okay.
I think you had a question.
Yes, sir.
I just have one question. It's been 10+ years with all this process. Can the county and their accounting office provide a balance sheet summary of the grant monies that were received, the timelines that you have made?
You can do an open records request to the auditor, and he should have all that.
In fact, I think you can.
Is it a summary balance sheet?
What they'll do is give you what the grant was when it came in and where it was spent.
And today?
Mhm.
Okay.
Just want to have one request. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, our commissioners report to you, is that correct?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Every elected official in the county is the king of their own kingdom.
Okay,
It's
we
that
have a
simple.
problem with our commissioner not being here, how do we address?
You call your commissioner, or you call
He
his
doesn't
office.
answer his phone, so what do you do from there?
Next time you want us.
I tried that, but here he is again, and he should be at this meeting, just to know, and I know, like you said, that you're not the boss.
I can tell you that every elected official is a king of their own kingdom. I am pretty much the figurehead of the county. I turn in a budget for the whole county, and once I turn it in, then the Commissioners Court, which I am a member of, have every right to tear that budget up. But for one, I don't have the right to tell them what to do. I will sometimes, when I get a lot of complaints on a certain issue, call the commissioner and tell them, look, these are the people that have called me. Yeah, you need to call them. I will tell you though that we have our ups and downs, and we do have a tendency to come unglued with each other, but I will do everything in my power to defend them, because I work with them on a daily basis. And until you're here, you don't really understand all the crap that we go through. And I'm not defending him, I'm just telling you
No,
that.
I'm understanding, I don't know how to get a request to him that he needs to be here and listen to us. If he doesn't answer his phone, he won't return any messages. I'm just trying to find out how do
Yeah,
we.
I would say have you called the commissioner's office?
But I think If not in defense of Commissioner Whitlock, no. But can you explain to us what's mandated?
Let me do this. Let me close
in a
this hearing.
public
Let me close this hearing, then we can talk, because it doesn't make sense to be talking about this during the
Well,
hearing.
it has to do with the public hearing. What does the public hearing mandate? That it just be the county judge?
It doesn't mandate even for me to be here,
So who do we talk to in the public
whoever's
hearing?
here.
Well, what if nobody shows up?
Oh, no, ma'am, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be here.
So I think I can answer her
Would
question.
have to be, will be.
Okay. So in order to apply for a grant, one of the requirements is you gotta document that you conducted a public hearing. Lo and behold, I've done 50 of these. I've never had this kind of turnout. You know, usually a public hearing, it's me and the mayor, or me and the county judge, or me and nobody. Sometimes nobody shows up. I'm by myself, you know, and it's publicized.
So my answer would be, he would have to,
So,
We'd have to have a representative from the county here.
it doesn't matter who it is. Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay,
so
you didn't have to be.
I applaud y'all for showing up tonight. I usually don't get this kind of attendance at a public hearing. It is a requirement, you gotta document it in the application. You know, how we publicize it is on the website. I don't know how y'all saw it, but anyhow, obviously y'all.
I'll tell you why. It's very hard to maneuver that county website, but you know why we're here? Because Judge Owens happened to mention it in the last meeting in December.
Uh-huh.
He goes, oh, we're gonna have a public hearing on CDBG money. So we made a note, and we went looking for it, and we're like, you know, it was there, so that's why we're here. But just so you'll know, and Judge Owens, I don't think he knows, the organization, CDBG money has been around forever. Because we've been.
1972.
Okay, so I've been organizing close to 30 years, and back then, it used to be the city would take funds for the county. CDBG money, the city would take it 1 year, then the next year was the county, and then back to the city. So the boarding session went back from entity to entity to entity, and the city. We need sidewalks in South Felipe and this area and there, we want you to use the CDBG money for that. The county, when it was, we would be here, addressing the county, saying we need CDBG money to be used on this. So we're very familiar with CDBG money and the process.
And nothing has changed there.
Okay.
That's still going on.
Yeah.
The city applied last year, the county's applying this time. We're
Nothing
talking,
has changed.
we're talking 2 pots of money here though, tonight, okay? We're talking CDBG, Community Development Funds, and we're talking CDBG, Colonia Construction Fund.
Correct.
2 opportunities,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
The Community Development Funds is the ones that the county and the city rotate every 2 years.
Yes, very good, thank you. All right,
Anybody else have any questions? And I'm sorry, I can't give y'all more answers. I mean, I really am, but I mean, I hope it helps.
listen, the way they explained us to really needs to be here, thank you very much for being here. You have a lot of knowledge on this Escondido State situation, and thank you very much too, because you come all the way from Uvalde, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
You stayed all day with us.
I've been here since 8:30 this morning.
Thank you very much.
We're here to hear the truth.
Can we,
And we're trying, I mean, we really are. I mean, you know, sometimes you don't like the answers that I give, which, you know, but, you know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We're gonna try our best, and we're gonna move on.
can we use the room for 10 minutes? Are we done? Or no?
You're done. And I give her a hard time, and I'm sorry, I'm not being rude, it's just that, you know.
Give me 10 minutes. 8 minutes. 8 minutes for evaluation, please. 8 minutes.
Yeah, y'all got time.
Okay.
Y'all got time.
I'm going on to dinner.